Have you noticed in the media that the teleprompter readers, the reporters, the journalists, the analysts who sit around the roundtable panel, you know, the panels I'm talking about, where it's like 6-1 against a whole bunch of liberals who all agree with each other, and the one guy, you know, Scott Jennings or something. And of course, the politicians, the Democrats that they bring on, they all seem to be reading off the same script. Have you noticed that? Yeah, you're not alone. They do this all the time. Our friend Western Lensman, who has a fantastic account on the X platform, I'm a subscriber. He curates videos. We use a lot of them here, and he's put together a great montage of the way the tariffs were reported on over the last week. See if you can pick up a trend.
We begin this hour with the chaos.
The average American sees chaos. The American people see chaos.
It's total chaos. You brought chaos.
It's just complete chaos.
Unleashed an economic chaos.
They unleash chaos.
They are creating chaos.
This chaos.
Oh, there's too much chaos.
Total chaos.
That amidst the chaos,
We're going to see chaos.
After seeing all the chaos,
the chaos he has unleashed on America.
Continue to see the chaos.
Economic chaos.
A lot more chaos.
Trump's chaos. This is chaos with such chaos.
The chaos because of this chaos. Chaos.
All of this chaos.
Uncertainty and chaos.
Given all that chaos, when it's chaos.
All the chaos.
chaos and confusion grow.
It's more chaos, dysfunction.
The chaos is the purpose. The chaos is the goal.
It's chaos.
Yeah, good job, Western Lensman. Again, subscribe to his channel. It's fantastic. Chaos. Did you notice? I'm sure you read between the lines and caught the magic word of the day. What did Pee Wee Herman use today? You have to scream every time you hear the word, or God forbid, you know, you have to take a shot at tequila every time you hear the word. Chaos. Chaos. It was chaos. This is market-tested stuff. They go into a focus group, and they see that people don't want chaos, especially when it comes to their investments and their retirements and their 401k. So we're going to keep saying chaos, chaos, chaos. It's chaotic, right? And it's like a joke. It's so obvious that they do this. So then cut to yesterday's Sunday shows. Here's Elizabeth Warren on with furrowed brow Jake Tapper, who has his smart guy glasses on for this one. And he asked her, well, what do you think of the president's tariff policies? Because the fact is, Senator Warren, you have supported the idea of tariffs over the years. So what's the problem?
Well, let's keep in mind, tariffs can be an important tool in the toolbox when used in targeted ways. But right now, what we've got is chaos and corruption.
We've added corruption to the chaos. Good for you, Elizabeth. That's impressive. And then Elizabeth Warren heads on over to the ABC studio, or really stays in whatever studio she's in, and they just changed the background behind her. Look, she's wearing the same outfit. And when asked about the policies this week,
Look, there is no tariff policy. It's just all chaos and corruption.
have you noticed a trend here? It's just chaos and corruption. It's the same thing over and over again. Like Andrew Breitbart used to say, the media is not bad because they're biased. It's because they suck. And the Democrats do the exact same thing over and over and over again. They just find these words and they repeat them. Now, listen, as a Republican, sometimes I'm jealous of this because I would love it if Republicans could stay on message like this and not continue to be free thinkers and come up with their own ideas and things that they say on their own. But darn it, we're just not made of the same material as Democrats are, who seem to be just fine marching off a cliff as lemmings as long as they stay on message and use the same words that their political handlers told them to use. And listen, Democrats are going to be Democrats. What bothers me is when the reporters do the same thing, when the journalists do the same thing, when the teleprompter readers who have journalism degrees do the same thing, when they pick up those words and they become part of the propaganda machine, when they become, shameless liars about politics. Remember this during the 2024 presidential election?
The one thing that I will not forgive them for is they're trying to steal the joy from this country.
The joy felt by Americans backing the Harris Walls ticket.
We are joyful warriors.
Being joyful is part of the American identity.
The joy factor.
Campaign of joy.
You're talking about radical joy.
It is downright joyful.
It looks like a joyous rally. It looks like a joyous occasion.
A real zeal and joy in the campaign.
The joy that you're bringing back to the country.
Joyful, exuberant rally.
Thank you for bringing back the joy.
Power of joy.
Hope and joy.
Something incredibly joyful.
She does it all with a sense of joy.
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 Joy. Joy.
Joy.
Joy.
Joy. Joy.
Imagine that. American politics. Joyful again.
Yeah. Have you noticed how many of those people are actually paid journalists for major corporate media entities who were just fine? Who were just fine repeating the talking point over and over and over again. It's like they don't have a mind of their own. And they also think their viewers are morons. They think they're stupid. There's up-teen different video streamers who do very similar content to what we do right here on this show, but we all have our different style. We have our different approach, and we don't all read the same script. Maybe we'd be more effective if we did. I don't know. But I wouldn't take a job like that for all the tea in China. Am I allowed to say tea in China? Is that racist? I'm sorry if it is. Again, Western Lensman finds this and promotes it, and we love it. In fact, there's one other example of this. Do you remember when Chuck Schumer decided he was going to fight the Republicans on the budget proposal, even if it meant shutting down the government, and then within like 15 hours changed his mind and said, all right, fine. We'll fund the government. We're not going to have a shutdown. And everybody was angry at him. Everyone thought Chuck Schumer was terrible. They were all throwing Chuck Schumer under the bus, which, by the way, didn't really work, because last I checked, Chuck Schumer's still the minority leader in the Senate, mostly because nobody else wants the job. But at that moment, in that moment, as we were experiencing that moment, Democrats, reporters, teleprompter readers, they all seem to have the same script again. I mean, not now, but back in that moment. Remember?
The strength that we have is in this moment.
Listen to your constituents. Center them in this moment.
But I can tell you that there are a lot of people that are watching his leadership in this moment. This is the moment.
I think about what's happening, in this moment.
What's important is that we meet this moment.
So are these current Democrats the ones to meet the moment?
What do you want to see us doing right now in this moment?
And which Democrats are actually going to stand up against Elon Musk and Donald Trump in this moment?
Fight that you all are exhibiting is not just what the base wants, but it's what this moment requires.
It's all about the moment. That was beautiful. And this time, Western Lensman brought the Brady Bunch format, which I really appreciate. That last one, by the way, was Simone Sanders. Now, she's a teleprompter reader, TV host for MSNBC, which is owned by Comcast Universal. Remember, when you spend your entertainment money, exactly what they think of you. Simone Sanders, a minute and a half ago was a spokesperson for Kamala Harris, and a minute and a half before that, a spokesperson for Bernie Sanders. But now she's a journalist. And somehow she's still repeating the same script that all those other Democrats were repeating. Who knows? She may have even written the script. But what amazes me, beyond just the fact that some of those people are teleprompter readers and journalists who are in charge of interviewing these politicians, what amazes me is not just that they're repeating it, but even when they're hearing it from a pod, like there's Jake Tapper with Jasmine Crockett, right? And Jasmine Crockett does the in this moment thing, at the moment, meeting the moment, in this moment, is Chuck Schumer rising to this moment. And Jake Tapper doesn't have a brain in his head where he can say, hey, excuse me, why do you say the same thing that every other Democrat has said on this channel for the first part of the day? Why are you all repeating the same talking point? Did somebody send you a memo? Right? That's what a normal human being would do, interacting with another human being. Instead, he just sits there with his smart guy glasses, acts like he's a journalist, and he's hearing this for the first time, which could be true because, let's face it, Jake Tapper, like the rest of America, probably doesn't watch CNN. But when it comes to the repeating the same talking point script over and over again across multiple media platforms, we have to have a special award today. And this one comes at the behest not of Western Lensman, but another great account that I subscribe to on X, Maze Moore. He has done something that goes well beyond just finding the talking point within a week. The chaos, or joy. No. He has tracked Bernie Sanders over the decades. Now, Bernie Sanders, of course, is going on a national tour. Who's paying for that, by the way? Funny how no journalists are interested in who's paying for Bernie Sanders to fly to Coachella Valley and introduce some rock band before they perform with all the weed and the mushrooms. Anyway, the name of his tour that he's on right now is Stop the Oligarchy. It's the Stop the Oligarchy tour. Stop the Oligarchy. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Bernie Sanders knows this script very well because, well, like a revival of Cats, now and forever, Bernie Sanders has been singing the oligarchy song for decades.
This great country of ours is moving very rapidly in the direction of oligarchy. The United States of America today is increasingly becoming an oligarchy. More and more moving toward an oligarchy. We are moving in the direction of oligarchy. We will move even more rapidly in the direction of an oligarchy. This great country is evolving into an oligarchic society. It is called oligarchy, and that is the system we are rapidly moving toward. This is a budget that moves our country rapidly into the direction of oligarchy. A handful of billionaires are moving this entire planet toward an oligarchic society.
Start off with the bad news, which is pretty bad, and that is that under Donald Trump, this country is hurtling rapidly toward oligarchy.
Under Donald Trump, we're hurtling rapidly toward oligarchy, which is very different than in 1993 when under Bill Clinton, we were hurtling rapidly toward oligarchy, or in 2007 when under George Bush, we were hurtling rapidly toward oligarchy. And then in 2012, 14, and 15, when under Barack Obama, we were rapidly hurtling toward oligarchy. And then in 17 and 18, believe it or not, under Trump the first time, we were hurtling rapidly toward oligarchy. At no point over those decades did any paid journalist on any of the major cable or broadcast networks say, with all due respect, Senator or former Congressman Sanders been saying the same thing since, like, the solid gold dancers were still a thing. Maybe you're wrong. Maybe this oligarchy thing is just a figment of your imagination. Maybe you're just a communist hack who vacationed on his honeymoon in the Soviet Union, like the actual Soviet Union when it was run by Brezhnev, even, not even Gorbachev. By the way, if you go look at some Cold War era history from East Germany and the Soviet Union or Poland or Czechoslovakia, they have Cold War museums from the Iron Curtain. These now free countries who were on the other side of the Iron Curtain. They were under the iron fist of the Soviet Union. And do you know what communists back then would always accuse the West, the free West, the free market West, the liberty-filled West, the good guys in the Cold War, the ones who won, the Reagan, Thatcher, John Paul II West. Do you know what they would constantly call Western civilization, Western economies, free democratic nations? Do you know what they would call us? Oligarchies. That was the word they would use all the time. Oligarchy. And now this is not only Bernie Sanders' talking point over the decades, like 30 years worth, but it's also mainstream Democrat Party talking points. There's no difference really at this point. If you embrace free market principles, if you embrace reducing the federal government and getting government regulations out of the lives of the free citizenry of this nation, you are an oligarch. because, well, it's the same propaganda they've always had. Whether it's the propaganda of chaos, 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 or the propaganda of joy, 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 or the propaganda of in this moment, or the propaganda of oligarchy, 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 it all reduces down to the same common denominator. It's propaganda. And the media plays along willingly.